Happy Wednesday. How is everybody today? I'm back. Mornings with the Mystic. As I promised, every morning I'm going to jump online and share with you an amazing book that will hopefully give you a little bit more peace, hope, understanding, and fill your heart with a little bit of love to start your day off, as well as we're having coffee together. So if nothing else, come and have a cup of coffee with me. Good morning, Dee Dee. Good morning, Kira. And like I started yesterday, and it is saved on my profile, so you can go back if you missed yesterday's morning's edition of the Tao of Pooh. And we're reading from the Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. And today we're actually on the second chapter, and it's entitled The Tao of Pooh. We were discussing the definition of wisdom late one night, and we were just about to fall asleep. Just about to fall asleep from it all when Pooh remarked that his understanding of Taoist principles had been passed down to him from certain ancient ancestors. Like who? I asked. Like Pooh Tao Zi, the famous Chinese painter, Pooh said. That's Wu Tao Zi? Or how about Li Pooh, the famous Taoist poet? Pooh asked cautiously. You mean Li Po, I said. Oh, said Pooh, looking down his feet. Then I thought of something. That doesn't really matter anyway, I said, because one of the most important principles of Taoism was named after you. Really? Pooh asked, looking more hopeful. Of course, Pooh. The uncarved block. I'd forgotten, said Pooh. So here we are, about to explain Pooh, the uncarved block, in the classic Taoist manner. We won't try too hard or explain too much, because that would only confuse things, I think. And because it would leave the impression that it was all only an intellectual idea that could be left on the intellectual level and ignored. Then you could say, well, this idea is all very nice, but what does it amount to? So instead, we will try to show what it amounts to in various ways. Pooh, by the way, is pronounced sort of like poo, but without so much ooh, like the sound you make when blowing a bug off your arm on a hot summer day. Pooh. Before we bring our resident expert in for a few illuminating remarks, let's explain something. The essence of the principle of the uncarved block is that things in their original simplicity contain their own natural power. Power that is easily spoiled and lost when the simplicity is changed. For the written character Pooh, the typical Chinese dictionary will give a definition of natural, simple, plain, honest. Pooh is composed of two separate characters. The first, the radical or root meaning one, is that for tree or wood. The second, the phonetic or sound-giving one, is the character for dense growth or thicket. So from tree in a thicket or wood not cut comes the meaning of things in their natural state. What is generally represented in English versions of Taoist writing as the uncarved block. This basic Taoist principle applies not only to things in their natural beauty and function, but to people as well, or bears. Which brings us to Pooh, the very epitome of the uncarved block. As an illustration of the principle, he may appear a bit too simple at times. I think it's more to the right, said Piglet nervously. What do you think, Pooh? Pooh looked at his two paws. He knew that one of them was the right, and he knew that when you had decided which one of them was the right, then the other one must be the left. But he never could remember how to begin. Well, he said slowly. But no matter how he may seem to others, especially to those fooled by appearances, Pooh, the uncarved block, is able to accomplish what he does because he is simple-minded. As an old Taoist walking out of the woods can tell you, simple-minded does not necessarily mean stupid. It's rather significant that the Taoist ideal is that of the still, calm, reflecting mirror mind. The mirror mind of the uncarved block. And it's rather significant that Pooh, rather than the thinkers Rabbit, Owl, or Eeyore, is the true hero of the Winnie the Pooh and the house at Pooh Corner. The fact is, said Rabbit, we've missed our way somehow. They were having a rest in a small sand pit on the top of the forest. Pooh was getting rather tired of that sand pit, and suspected it of following them about, because whichever direction they started in, they always ended up at it. And each time, as it came through the mist at them, Rabbit said triumphantly, "Now I know where we are." And Pooh said sadly, "So do I." And Piglet said nothing. He had tried to think of something to say, but the only thing he could think of was, "Help, help." And it seemed silly to say that when he had Pooh and Rabbit with him. "Well," said Rabbit, after a long silence in which nobody thanked him for the nice walk they were having, "we'd better get on, I suppose. Which way shall we try now?" "How would it be," said Pooh slowly, "if as soon as we're out of sight of this pit, we try to find it again?" "What's the good of that?" said Rabbit. "Well," said Pooh, "we keep looking for a home and not finding it. So I thought that if we looked for this pit, we'd be sure not to find it, which would be a good thing, because then we might find something that we weren't looking for, which might be just what we were looking for, really." "I don't see much sense in that," said Rabbit. "If I walked away from this pit and then walked back to it, of course I should find it." "Well, I thought perhaps you wouldn't," said Pooh. "I just thought." "Try," said Piglet suddenly. "We'll wait here for you." Rabbit gave a laugh to show how silly Piglet was and walked into the mist. After he had gone 100 yards, he turned and walked back again. And after Pooh and Piglet had waited 20 minutes for him, Pooh got up. "I just thought," said Pooh. "Now then, Piglet, let's go home." "But Pooh," cried Piglet, all excited, "do you know the way?" "No," said Pooh, "but there are 12 pots of honey in my cupboard, and they've been calling to me for hours. I couldn't hear them properly before, because Rabbit would talk. But if nobody says anything except those 12 pots, I think, Piglet, I shall know where they're calling from. Come on." They walked off together, and for a long time Piglet said nothing, so as not to interrupt the pots. And then suddenly he made a squeaky noise and an ooh noise, because now he began to know where he was. but he still didn't dare to say it so out loud, in case he wasn't. And just when he was getting so sure of himself that it didn't matter whether the pots went on calling or not, there was a shout in front of them, and out of the mist came Christopher Robin. After all, if it were cleverness that counted most, Rabbit would be number one, instead of that bear. But that's not the way things work. "We've come to wish you a very happy Thursday," said Pooh, when he had gone in and out once or twice, just to make sure that he could get out again. "Why? What's going to happen on Thursday?" asked Rabbit. And when Pooh had explained, and Rabbit, whose life was made up of important things, said, "Oh, I thought you'd really come about something," they sat down for a little while. And by, Pooh and Piglet went on again. The wind was behind them now, so they didn't have to shout. "Rabbit's clever," said Pooh thoughtfully. "Yes," said Piglet, "Rabbit's clever. And he has a brain." "Yes," said Piglet, "Rabbit has a brain." There was a long silence. "I suppose," said Pooh, "that's why he never understands anything." And if clever Rabbit doesn't quite have what it takes, abrasive Eeyore certainly doesn't either. Why not? Because of what we could call the Eeyore attitude. You might say that while Rabbit's little routine is that of knowledge for the sake of being clever, and while Owl is that of knowledge for the sake of appearing wise, Eeyore is knowledge for the sake of complaining about something. As anyone who doesn't have it can see, the Eeyore attitude gets in the way of things like wisdom and happiness, and pretty much prevents any sort of real accomplishment in life. Eeyore, the old gray donkey, stood by the side of the stream and looked at himself in the water. "Pathetic," he said. "That's what it is. Pathetic." He turned and walked slowly down the stream for 20 yards, splashed across it, and walked slowly back on the other side. Then he looked at himself in the water again. "As I thought," he said. "No better from this side. But nobody minds. Nobody cares. Pathetic. That's what it is." There was a crackling noise in the bracken behind him, and out came Pooh. "Good morning, Eeyore," said Pooh. "Good morning, Pooh Bear," said Eeyore gloomily. "If it is a good morning," he said, "which I doubt," he said. "Why? What's the matter?" "Nothing, Pooh Bear. We can't all, and some of us don't. That's all there is to it." It's not that the Eeyore attitude is necessarily without a certain severe sort of humor. "Hello, Eeyore," they called out cheerfully. "Ah," said Eeyore, "lost your way?" "We just came to see you," said Piglet, "and to see how your house was. Look, Pooh, it's still standing." "I know," said Eeyore. "Very odd. Somebody ought to have come down and pushed it over." "We wondered whether the wind would blow it down," said Pooh. "Ah, that's why nobody's bothered. I suppose. I thought perhaps they'd forgotten. It's just that it's really not so awfully much fun. Not like a few other points of view we can think of. A little too complex or something. After all, what is it about Pooh that makes Pooh so lovable?" "Well, to begin with," said Pooh. "Yes, well, to begin with, we have the principle of the uncarved block. After all, what is the most appealing thing about Pooh? What else but, well, to begin with, simplicity. The simplicity of the uncarved block. And the nicest thing about that simplicity is its useful wisdom, the what is there to eat variety wisdom that you can get at. Considering that, let's have Pooh describe the nature of the uncarved block. All right, Pooh, what can you tell us about the uncarved block? The what? Asked Pooh, sitting up suddenly and opening up his eyes. The uncarved block, you know? Oh. The O? What do you have to say about it? I didn't do it, said Pooh. You? It must have been Piglet, he said. I did not, squeaked Piglet. Oh, Piglet, where did you? I didn't, said Piglet. Well then, it was probably Rabbit, said Pooh. It wasn't me, Piglet insisted. Did someone call? Said Rabbit, popping from behind a chair. Oh, Rabbit, I said. We're talking about the uncarved block. Haven't seen it, said Rabbit. But I'll go ask Owl. That won't be I began. Too late now, said Pooh. He's gone. I never even heard of the uncarved block, said Piglet. Neither did I, said Pooh, rubbing his ear. It's just a figure of speech, I said. A what of who? Asked Pooh. A figure of speech. It means that, well, the uncarved block is a way of saying, like Pooh. Oh, is that all? Said Piglet. I wondered, said Pooh. Pooh can't describe the uncarved block to us in words. He just is it. And that is the nature of the uncarved block. A perfect description. Thank you, Pooh. Not at all, said Pooh. When you discard arrogance, complexity, and a few other things that get in the way, sooner or later you will discover that simple, childlike, and mysterious secret known to those of the uncarved block. Life is fun. Now, one autumn morning, when the wind had blown all the leaves off the trees in the night and was trying to blow the branches off, Pooh and Piglet were sitting in the thoughtful spot and wondering. What I think, said Pooh, is I think we'll go to Pooh Corner and see Eeyore, because perhaps his house has blown down, and perhaps he'd like us to build it again. What I think, said Piglet, is I think we'll go and see Christopher Robin, only he won't be there, so we can't. Let's go and see everybody, said Pooh. Because when you've been walking in the wind for miles and miles, and you suddenly go into somebody's house, and he says, hello, Pooh, you're just in time for a little smackerel of something, and you are. Then it's what I call a friendly day. Piglet thought that they ought to have a reason for going to see something, like looking for small or organizing an exposition, as he says. If Pooh could think of something, Pooh could. We'll go because it's Thursday, he said, and we'll go to wish everybody a very happy Thursday. Come on, Piglet. From the state of the uncarved block comes the ability to enjoy the simple and the quiet, the natural and the plain. Along with that comes the ability to do things spontaneously and have them work, odd as that may appear to others at times. As Piglet put it in Winnie the Pooh, Pooh hasn't much brain, but he never comes to any harm. He does silly things, and they turn out right. To understand all that is a little better, it might help to look at someone who is quite the opposite. Someone like, well, say, Owl, for example. And that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll be back 6:30 in the morning again with my cup of coffee and our book. And tomorrow's chapter is Spelling Tuesday. I really do hope you enjoy this time we're spending in the morning. It's simple, it's easy, it's a little bit of fun, a whole lot of happiness, because I'm here able to share it with you. And I truly do hope it brings you peace through your day. It brings you something to think about. Helps you to smile and say hello to somebody else. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Ivy, I'm publishing it again. I'll be back again 6:30 in the morning tomorrow. It was actually chilly today. I had to put on a sweatshirt. But I will be back again tomorrow morning. I will be publishing this on my story. Please share it. Please bring a little bit of hope and a little bit of light into somebody else's life. You could be the very reason, even to a stranger, that they have a nice day. If you're ready to change your world, I'm telling you, we're halfway through. I keep saying it because I need you guys to understand. We are halfway through literally a destiny year. Don't forget that. Your energy, how you move through things, and everything you plant this year is going to set the tone literally for the next 20 years of your life. I'm here to help you. Remember, I'm medium on the mission. My life's work is you, to help you heal and live happy, healthy, abundant, passionate, love-filled lives. And I won't rest till I've helped as many of you do that as I can. You're a part of me, and I'm a part of you. And I'm always here for you. So reach out, DM me, go to my website, www.oneheartonespirit.com. Book a session with me today. Whether it's crossroads, life path, whether you need help in relationships or your romantic life, whether you're working towards a career, whether you just need to know what Spirit has to say, if you're worried about your health, if you want to connect to somebody who's passed on, if you want to transform and work through some of the trauma and the things that are affecting you and oppressing you and holding you back, we're all imperfectly perfect together. And I know there's some that might say, namaste. But I call bullshit to namaste. Excuse my journey. And why is that? Because every single one of us has the God and the Goddess within us. Okay? But that's not why we're here. We were put on this earth to be a part of this world and to live a human life, to learn the lessons, and to grow together. So where some may say namaste, the God or goddess in me sees the God or goddess in you. This is what I say to you. The human in me sees and loves the human in you. And we are in this together. And if you're part of this life, if you're part of this soul family, or you're new to it, I'm going to let you in on a secret that I do not keep as a secret. You, me, all of us, we're everything and anything but basic. Okay, guys. Like I said, DM me and book a session. Even if it's if you're not in for a regular session, which everybody should be right now with what's going on in the time we're in, and the energy and how the planets are aligning. And let's face it, how to maneuver through this crazy world and everything that is going on at the outside, which we have to work through and move around. So a regular session is a really good idea. But past life regressions, soul retrievals, anything that you feel you want to expand and grow with are the answers you need to find. Please message me. I hope you all have an amazing day. The human in me sees and loves the human in you. And I will be back tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. PST. And we're going to have our cup of coffee together. And we are going to read Spelling Tuesday. Okay, you guys have a great day. I love you fierce. Bye.